Do we have a whole bunch of people in the waiting room, JB?
Since you're the host, you have to.
Uh-oh, I have never done that before.
There should be I believe a thing on the top that says like broadcast, and you should be able to.
I hit broadcast. Let's see here. All right, I've hit broadcast. And there come all the attendees. There we go. Good morning, everybody. We're just going to be waiting, give the room a few minutes to populate here at Zoom. Thanks for joining in today. We'll get started shortly. We'll just give it another minute, everybody. Thanks for your patience this morning and for joining us. All right, good morning. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Jeffrey LaFrancois, and I'm the Executive Director of the Meatpacking Business Improvement District. Thanks for tuning in for our 5th annual meeting here of the BID. What a time it's been, and like so many other moments right now, I'm sorry we can't be meeting in person for this event. We're running this as a webinar today, in part because it makes voting a bit more simpler when we're running the elections. And later on in the program, we'll be bringing over our board secretary, Jared Epstein, who'll be running those elections, and you'll also hear from our board chair, Jonathan Iger, a bit later. But in the meantime, you don't have to worry about what you're wearing or if their dog is barking in the background this morning. But again, thanks for tuning in. We're convening this meeting virtually and in compliance with Governor Cuomo's Executive Order 202.1. I'm sure this is not your first Zoom webinar by now, so thanks for taking another one with us. It's been quite a year. And thanks to all of you, we're primed to have a strong return after the city's pause in light of COVID-19. I'm going to briefly take us through the past year, share some accomplishments and some challenges. And then, as I said, I'll be kicking it over to our board secretary, Jared Epstein, who will handle our director elections. And we'll be using the Zoom polling feature for voting, which is very straightforward, and we'll have directions when that time comes. After the elections, our board chair, Jonathan Iger, will share some thoughts on the future, and we'll call it a morning. Given phase two's kickoff yesterday, the district is busy and everybody is figuring, life out in a new way. So we want to be respectful of everybody's time. Starting off this morning with some numbers, just the face of our district at a glance. All of this from over the past year, estimates and data we've begun to compile and collect. Our sanitation team in particular has done a phenomenal job of maintaining our 94 block faces in the past 3 months. Likewise, as ACE, our partners on the ground and keeping the district clean, have for years. Likewise, our landscaping crews have kept the district gorgeous. When you do come back through again, the district is blooming and it's beautiful. A flash of transit ridership. It's strong, and we are paying a particular note to what we expect to be an increase in cycling coming to and from the district. We're in talks with the city right now, figuring how we can expand our city bike capacity and also find more bike parking for those riding to and from work. I've been biking down myself once or twice a week to the district, and it's a notable difference. So we want to make sure as more and more folks return to the district, there's safe space for them to do so. Last summer, we celebrated our long-awaited return of our plazas, bringing 30,000 square feet back to the public square. While a touch of that construction remains at the northern part of the district as it relates to this project, those plazas were certainly a bright spot. We were joined by all of our elected officials, the Department of Transportation and the Department of Design and Construction to cut that quite beautiful and notable red ribbon. It was a 4-year reconstruction of the neighborhood, and I'm proud to say the red umbrellas arrived back on the plazas yesterday, bringing another aspect of the neighborhood back to life. The sweat sessions last year had another successful summer in 14th Street Park with nearly 4,000 attendees. While we're not planning an in-person sweat sessions fitness program this year, we are in talks with partners to see what we might be able to do to go virtual to bring a distinct offering to those who for so long have relied on us for a way to sweat and work out. And we're also keeping an eye on ways that we can partner with folks to smartly activate our public spaces, not just in Hudson River Park's 14th Street Park, but in our plazas across the district as well. Harvest Fest also filled 14th Street Park last fall. It was our 7th annual event of the market, and thousands made their way through to roam, sip, sample, and buy goods from the district, all outside. We also had a dog costume contest with guest judges State Senator Brad Hoylman, accompanied by the readers from Drag Queen Story Hour. And if memory serves me correctly, the winner was a dog dressed as Ruth Bader Ginsburg for last year's costume contest winner. We christened our plazas officially last fall with a wonderful jazz concert on Gansevoort Plaza, thanks to our friends at Aurora Capital and William Gottlieb Real Estate. We brought Cornelia Street Cafe back to life in their Cornelia in Exile program and had an amazing afternoon, 4 hours of jazz, poetry, Afro-punk music. We closed down Gansevoort Street, filled the plaza, and hundreds of folks from the city and the neighborhood really enjoyed a beautiful afternoon outside. And it really goes to show the value of public space and why we're so excited to be bringing that all back online. Before the holidays last year, we brought our Very Merry program back to life. A night of shopping activities throughout the district. Discounts were offered of up to 40% at retailers as shoppers enjoyed activities and entertainment while they made their way about the district on a chilly evening. It also gives the team a chance to do our annual shopping photo shoot, as that picture shows on the bottom right there. As spring came around, I think it's all safe to say we had a very different 2020 in mind. When the pandemic took root in the city, so too did a change in our neighborhood. What has always been a place of a particular type of New York bustle quickly shuttered and changed overnight. The team at the BID, with the support of our executive committee and the board of directors, made a focus very early on to go digital and bring meatpacking moments to folks throughout our social media channels. We created over 75 hours of programming with our neighborhood partners and have even more on the way as we continue to recognize that a digital presence will be ever relevant, even as the city enters phase 2 and makes plans for phase 3 and 4. At the start of the pandemic, some stores boarded up in reaction to the neighborhood shuttering. While we initially did not want stores boarded up as we felt it was the wrong message, we quickly activated to bring art to the district by working with Teresa Rivera to paint murals on some of our storefronts. It garnered significant media attention and brought smiles to those who walked by with their dog or on the way to the grocery store. Things changed rapidly at the beginning of June as civil unrest took hold in the city and targeted looting began taking place in the meatpacking district. After nights of Soho and NoHo being ravaged in Union Square, 2 nights, we had over 20 storefronts damaged and some repeatedly attacked by what was a very targeted effort to steal and wreak havoc on the city, and what we found in no way connected to the Black Lives Matter movement that started and is taking place still to this day. And we've been seen a regular presence of protests happening on 14th Street, making their way east across the city, and likewise utilizing the West Side Highway as the movement continues. As a reaction to the past 3 months, to the civil unrest that has taken place and continues to unfold, we need to take a moment to recognize all the sacrifice that's taken place, the struggle we've all endured, and especially to give a thanks to our frontline workers who have done so much to keep the city safe and to keep us going through a very difficult time. So we partnered with our friends at Leaf Festival of Flowers and famous flower flash designer Louis Miller to write a love letter in flowers on Gansevoort Plaza to New York City. It was a one-day flower flash event that brought joy to the city, garnering local and national media attention. And while it might not look it, because those pictures were taken from our 5th floor office overlooking Gansevoort Plaza, each one of those letters has more than 2,000 flowers in it. And the whole installation was about 15 feet by 15 feet. And it spent the day there. And like I said, garnered national and local media attention. And Governor Cuomo also included it in one of his daily COVID updates, emails under the deep breath moment about what New Yorkers are doing to take a moment to pause and smile right now. So we were really happy to be able to bring that moment to the district and have it be a showcase for the city of something like this happening in the meatpacking district for New Yorkers. All during this time, we've continued to lean into what we're going to do no matter what, looking to new ways to program, to stay relevant and to stay fresh. So we launched our new thought leadership series, Meatpacking Unpacked, Community Connected. It's a weekly conversation with the district's and the city's business, political, and cultural cast of characters. As you can see, our lineup of guests that have taken place here already range a bit of a gamut thus far. We've only had 5, but we have a whole summer of guests lined up already. And soon we'll be hearing from Robert Hammond from Friends of the High Line, Fred Dixon, the president of New York City and Company, the city's tourism marketing arm, as well as Comptroller Scott Stringer and a host of others from the district and the city as a whole. We're streaming that live on Saturday mornings on YouTube. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for those updates and to tune in on that program. We've also been using our social media to maintain our presence to all those folks who haven't been able to regularly visit the district through our Instagram channel, through Facebook, through our newsletters. We've continued to monitor, grow, and watch our audience and keep a sharp eye on what's trending, what's important, and to continue offering and showcasing the best of what the Meatpacking District has to offer. Earlier this year, back in April, the BID's Board of Directors adopted the fiscal year 2021 expense budget, which will run at a deficit next year, is projected to run, at a deficit next year, in part because we are closing this year with a surplus, and so are rolling those funds over to offset what we see as being a lack of income coming in. The board felt that given the economic situation in the city, the BID's role in supporting the neighborhood's needs is ever more important. And so we intend to maintain our robust marketing and programming services, be sure that we have the most beautiful and effective, well-managed public space, because as we've always said, good public space is good for business. And when we put those umbrellas out yesterday and set up a few tables and chairs, within minutes, they were being utilized. We have a sanitation process in place for all of our public furniture with our ACE Clean team, and we are monitoring that very closely and very directly to make sure that it's clean, efficient, and well-used public space. With that, I want to get to a more technical aspect of the meeting, and I'm going to bring over our board secretary, Jared Epstein, as I scan to find him and bring him over to a panelist this morning. Jared, are you there with us?
I'm here.
Thank you very much for joining us and for running us through these elections.
Sure, my pleasure. Hi, everybody. I was actually in the Meatpacking District yesterday for the first time in a couple weeks. I had been there every 2 weeks or so over the past few months, and it's getting better little by little. I saw a lot of people there yesterday. I actually had lunch with a few people outside at Pastis, and they were building their decking on the street, and it's really going to be beautiful. They were adding lights to it for the nighttime, and it's great to see the vitality coming back to our most amazing commercial district in the neighborhood, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and get this election started. I'm the BID's board secretary. I'm happy to have the privilege of running us through today's election of directors. The board of directors is elected by a vote of registered members, and the BID bylaws defined how this meeting and the process of developing today's slate came about. The nominating committee convened to determine a slate based on expiring terms and applications from the public, along with distribution of this slate and promotion of the meeting. Each class votes for itself on the slate today. We are voting in 4 different classes through the Zoom polling feature. Class A1 is owners of commercial property. Class A2 are owners of residential property. Class B are commercial tenants. Class C are residential tenants. The board is also made up of Class E, which is the nonprofit district stakeholders. There will not be a vote for that category as it's a non-voting position, but has always had representation on our board. On the screen before you is the list of Class A1 directors up for a vote today. Class A1 voters are owners of commercial property only. Julia, could you run the poll, please, for Class A1? Please vote only if you are a Class A1 commercial property owner. Gonna give you like another 15 seconds or so. Jeffrey, you tell me when you think it's we're good. I don't know if you're seeing it on your
That was-
end.
Julia's running it, so she's seeing it. But that was a good 30 seconds, which in my experience, has been plenty of time.
Enough time. Okay, that's great. Thank you, everyone that voted in Class A1. On the screen before you, you'll now see the list of Class A directors up for a vote today. Class A2 are owners of residential property only. Julia will be running the poll again. Thank you, Julia. Please vote only if you're a Class A2 residential property owner. So only vote if you actually own a residential property in the neighborhood.
I think we're good to go on that one, Jared.
All right, great. On the screen before you now, you're going to see a list of Class B directors. Class B are commercial tenants in our neighborhood. Julia, could you run the poll for Class B? Remember, only vote for Class B if you're actually a commercial tenant in the neighborhood. Jeffrey, how do you check if people are voting correctly?
Thank you for that excellent question, Jared. I forgot to find that earlier. We are not announcing the votes today because we're going to cross-reference the votes we received with our registered bid members to make sure that folks voted in the correct category.
Very smart.
We've been working with other bids to see how the best way to do it is. And we learned from those who've done their annual meeting already. So we'll be announcing these results probably in the next couple of days.
Got it. Are we on to Class E now?
We are on to Class C.
Okay, C. Okay, got it. On the
Sure.
screen before you now, you're going to see Class C directors that are up for a vote today. Class C are residential tenants. Julia will be running the Class C poll now. Thank you, Julia. Please vote only if you're in Class C, which means you're a residential tenant within the meatpacking bid.
All right, I think that'll do it, Jared.
Great. And finally, Class E, which is a non-voting class of director based on those who have a significant interest or a nonprofit property owner in the neighborhood. Friends of the High Line, for example, is in this category on our board, and they will continue to have a seat on our board. That concludes the election of the direction portion of the meeting. Thanks everyone for coming. Stay safe and please continue to frequent the neighborhood. It's only going to get better from here.
Jared, thank you. I really appreciate that. I found the most difficult thing during Zoom meetings is the deafening silence of sort of just being alone at your computer, not being able to engage with audiences and people. So I really appreciate it.
Well, you're here with me and that's enough.
All right. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Anytime.
With that, folks, I want to welcome our board chair to share some remarks as I scroll to find him and bring him over this morning, Jonathan Iger. Jonathan, I think you just joined us.
Unmuted, that works.
There you
Okay.
go. There you are.
Good morning, everyone. Wish we were doing this at Highline stages this year, but this will have to do. Echoing what Jeffrey said, we're respectful of everyone's time, particularly understanding that we're just in the second day of New York Forward's Phase 2 reopening for New York City. As Jared and Jeffrey spoke, we're already seeing the effects of that on our neighborhood, our streets and plazas, livening, more restaurants providing service, and now setting up outdoor seating. So I echo Jared's sentiment. I've been to Pastis twice in the last week. You can pick up a nice twist-off bottle of rosé, and the food, plus Dos Caminos and so many of other of our great businesses in the district are there to support all of us, and it's our job to support them during this difficult time. So I ask everyone to do what they can, as they're doing for us. This has obviously been a unbelievably difficult time for all of us, for our businesses. We are a business improvement district, looking to better the lives of our community, looking to better the lives of our visitors to the neighborhood. But so much of our job is here to support our businesses. With that, our staff, and I have to thank our vendors and service providers, while the bid has continued without fail to provide the essential services that we are tasked with. We are responsible for our sanitation, our public space management, our landscaping, our public safety. While they are not police or firefighter or healthcare workers, they have been our frontline workers in keeping our neighborhood safe and active and beautiful. And so on behalf of myself and the board and our staff, we can't thank them enough for what they have done to, keep the flavor of meatpacking alive during this difficult time. On marketing and programming, Jeffrey touched on a couple things, and one that I wanted to really highlight, the digital programming and the weekend talk series that Jeffrey has been hosting for a number of weeks now, and I urge everyone to join in, to check it out on IGTV and on our YouTube channel. This is a significant shift, and one that was long in the making before COVID struck. We're 5 years old now as a bid, and we've seen neighborhoods across the city and outside of New York copy what meatpacking has been. Tried to copy, a neighborhood like ours that has true New York character, but is at the intersection of art, culture, tech, food, and we need to make sure that we stay relevant, make sure that we continue to be a leader in community engagement. And so a lot of the conversations with the board, with the executive committee under Jeffrey's leadership and his staff, has been what does Meatpacking 2.0 start to look like? And as the board, we've been discussing this for basically a year now. And it continues to evolve, particularly in light of COVID-19. But very much of it lands on thought leadership. And as I said, thought leadership through Meatpacking Unpacked. This is a significant shift in the type of marketing that any type of bid does for a neighborhood. We're the first to do this, particularly in the city, but we really have not seen this nationwide, and we do look out to see what other bids do outside of New York. And I will be surprised if over the next coming months or even years that we are not yet copied again, and we will continue to build this programming around thought leadership. We're a neighborhood that people look towards to see what is trending, from fashion to tech to the best minds of our industry, as so many new amazing tenants have entered into our neighborhood. Forward-thinking companies like Tesla and Delos as WELL certification for residential and commercial buildings are going to become of penultimate importance going forward. Delos is a tenant and a thought leader and an industry leader within that. And so we are going to look to take advantage of those great minds going forward. We've been producing programming that complements our ground floor and tenant mix of businesses, as I just highlighted. And along with Leaf Festival of Flowers, we have been working hard to maintain the grit and character of the neighborhood while so many great retailers have entered, like Brunello Cucinelli and Hermes and Restoration Hardware and Starbucks Reserve. And so along with, the Leaf Festival of Flowers that Jeffrey highlighted, we're working with Skylight and of course our longtime partner Ken Smith Workshop to ensure that the district's narrative stays fresh and attention grabbing. And I do want to thank everyone who has participated on our digital programming, our content providers, both for supporting all of us while we're at home and providing some great content. I've used some of the recipes. It's been a nice respite during work or after work to pull up our Instagram account and see what was posted during that day. And I recommend all of you, if you don't, to subscribe, to follow. It's really some great content that our team is putting out right now. As I highlighted, the bid is now 5 years old, and we've already seen projects related to city and private capital investment. Most recently, anyone who's been in the neighborhood, you can't miss our new installation of tree pits and planters along 14th Street, extending and bringing life to our neighborhood. We are excited to be piloting the Open Streets Shared Streets program, and in light of COVID, to make more space for pedestrians. We've been working diligently, very proactively with all of our stakeholders in the neighborhood to ensure that we're supporting the needs of the neighborhood, supporting the needs of the city, but very much supporting the needs of our businesses, listening and speaking with them on how this program affects them, how they would like to see it go forward in a post-COVID world, how it can truly improve the overall experience for our neighborhood. And we've been studying the neighborhood and exploring ways to make elements of, like I said, the Shared Streets program, and now the city's new open restaurants plan, in which Jared just alluded to Pastis taking advantage, and we expect many, if not all, of our restaurants to be able to take advantage of that. And again, Jeffrey and our team will work diligently to understand what works and what doesn't work in our neighborhood, and to see how this can become a permanent part of our streetscape for anyone who has been slowly experiencing it. Even just picking up a margarita from Dos Caminos and sitting on the bench, you can see how much it changes the texture and flavor and sentiment of our great neighborhood. So it's been a difficult several months, but of course we look forward to continuing to improve the district on what we can, on what we learn, on what we experience. At the end of the day, though, it's because of all of you, Meatpacking has and will continue to be a trend-setting change agent for New Yorkers and the city. And so I want to thank everyone who's participating in this meeting. I want to thank our board. I want to thank our executive committee. But most of all, I want to thank Jeffrey for his leadership and his entire staff, Julia, Kate, Evan, and Tiffany. From the moment this virus struck our city and our neighborhood, they have come into the office when they needed, come into the neighborhood when they needed. They have worked tirelessly to make sure that our neighborhood continues its long march towards what we are calling Meatpacking 2.0 internally, but also ensuring the safety, well-being, beautification of our neighborhood. So with that, I look forward to seeing as many of you as I can in the neighborhood in the coming weeks and months. And I'm going to kick it back over to Jeffrey. Have a great morning.
Thank you, Jonathan. Really appreciate those remarks, and certainly your support as board chair. And again, in particular, just to give shout out to the board as a whole. Thank you for your support over the past year, but in particular these past 3 months. I also want to give a direct thanks to the team who has just been fantastic to work with. They usually are hearing me, yell across the office, but instead it's quick Google phone calls and constant Zoom messages. And so thank you to them for all they've been doing. Tiffany Griffin, our Director for Marketing Events and Partnerships. Kate Ropke, our Digital Media and Community Relations Manager. Evan Sweet, our Operations and Economic Development Manager. And Julia Bailey, our Program and Event Coordinator, and my Zoom educator, as she has been the past 3 months. They've been doing an outstanding job, so thank you to them. And then, finally, as you make your way back to the district, it feels really good to be here. Please wear a mask, and if you see one of our sanitation workers, thank them. Restaurants spent the day opening up the district yesterday, setting up outside, really making this place feel bustling again. And I don't want us to fall back in any way. And let's look forward to phase 3 and phase 4. And so with that, thank you, everybody. And we hope to see you in person at next year's annual meeting. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Thank you, team.